When I go to the Bible as a skeptic, the thing that convinced me, number one, was all of the ancient writings, the prophecies that came to pass. I think we would all have to agree that at least that is something to at least address the fact that, and what I mean specifically is, Psalm 22 written before crucifixion was...
Hold on, John.
Okay.
We'll come right back to this. So don't lose the point. But
gotcha.
When you say you believe the Bible because it's revealed by God, how do you know it's that's the right one? I mean, the Quran is supposed to be revealed. Book of Mormon is supposed to be revealed. I don't know of other religions offhand, but why the Bible on that basis alone? It doesn't seem like that would get you to Christianity all by itself.
Well, that's why I'm going straight to the heart of the reason that I believe the Bible to be true and the God of the Bible to be God is because of all of the prophecies that were written hundreds and thousands of years.
I will get there. We'll get there, John. But don't those other books, I mean, they have prophecies too. But do you see my point that I have when you just say essentially because it's in the Bible that says it's revealed, that means it's the right one. That doesn't seem to be enough justification.
It's revealed to many and others in other regions and different religions.
Why the Christian Bible? Before we get into the prophecies, have you read those?
Well, I have read through the Quran. The surahs, I can't remember how many there are, but I did read through the Quran. The only thing is just like with the Bible, I don't know if I got a good translation, because I got a translation that I could understand in English.
Well, okay. I mean, it seems like on that basis alone, you could be a Muslim too. All right. Well, you get my point. At least you heard my point. So let's go to...
Yes.
Let's go to prophecies then, so we don't lose that point. Go ahead. I interrupted you, so go ahead and make your point on prophecies again.
Well, Psalm 22, speaks of crucifixion before crucifixion was even invented. And it's actually talking about crucifixion of Christ because it says they cast lots for my garments and they parted my garments. So that raised some eyebrows for me because I had to ask the question, how did this writer know this before it happened? You know what I'm saying? So, and I'll just start there. What do you think about that?
My first thought, being a skeptic, is that, as I'm trying to Google it here, is that it would have been written later. So let's figure out. Psalm 22.
Scholarly
Psalm 22 is a psalm that expresses the pain and suffering and glory of God. It is thought to have been written during the reign of King David. It has been interpreted in various ways, including a prayer for help, a prophecy about the Messiah, a prayer for the Jewish people, a prayer in times of suffering, and a prayer for those who are marginalized. So,
multitasking.
Let's see. Okay, so it's considered to be a prophecy about the Messiah. We'd have to look more into it, but we don't do theology here, so
yes.
I'll let other channels do that. As a general rule, I don't believe prophecies because if you have what's already written before you have the later, then it doesn't really matter. But I see what you're saying. If it was written earlier, thought to have been written in the King of David, which is 1000 BC.
Yes.
But see, once you've got the prophecy written, it's easy to then sometime in the future write a latter story that matches the written prophecy. One of the problems with Jesus is that there is very little evidence for him even being around. If you look at some of the videos by Holy Kool-Aid, Thomas Westbrook, you'll see that the archaeology, the mention of him in other books is there's so much missing. So to me, that would lead me more to a real world answer of that it was more of a elaboration of maybe a real person, and then it was written in such a way that it would match the prophecy to make it more believable. That just seems to be so much more feasible than a person actually came back from the dead.
Agreed.
My bar is it's very high for believing something miraculous, which is to say you have to break the laws of physics.
And the last thing that I would say to just finish that up is that it surprised me to find out that there were actually not just this one, but 350 prophecies in the Old Testament that were fulfilled in Christ.
Have you looked into the different prophecies in terms of, looking at both sides of it, if you will? Because like when I read,
as a critic as well.
Yeah, when I read
as a skeptic,
when I read the Case for Christ as an example, I read the Case for Christ, and then I read the case against the Case for Christ literally immediately after. So I kind of got both sides of the story.
Oh wow!
So that's kind of how you give yourself a nice skeptical balance.
So Strobel wrote the first one. Who wrote the other one? The critique on that. But I'm impressed that you read Strobel.
Yeah, Strobel I have a big problem with because he is an apologetic who did not claim to be an apologist.
Oh, those are the best.
Yeah. Robert Price is his name. He's a mythicist, actually. Anyways, the problem I had with Strobel is that the story that's presented is that he